Welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson, and fall is finally here in Michigan. All sorts of exciting stuff going on. Small game seasons are open. Bear season's open this weekend. We had early goose season happen a little while back. We're going to show you how that turned out for us here. And Jimmy is going to take us out for some bass fishing too.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have a little bass fishing on this week's show, and although that's not something that we do a lot of this time of the year as we're getting ready for the hunting seasons, the reason we are is there is a huge bass fishing tournament coming to the state of Michigan where the top 14 bass anglers in the nation, actually in the world, are going to be coming to Muskegon Lake next weekend. We were able to get out with someone that Michigan bass fishermen know quite well, Mark Zona. He has two national fishing shows, one on ESPN and one on the Outdoor Channel. We were able to get out and do a little fishing with him on Muskegon Lake to kind of promo that event that's coming up. It's a lot of fun. You won't want to miss that story. And we're also going to have part 2 in our series on talking to whitetails. Going to get some tips this week on how you can talk to the whitetails using a grunt call. The deer seasons are just a couple of weeks away, so that's going to be some good information for you as well. Lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Meijer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meijer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meijer. By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows. Manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan, G5 offers archery bows, broadheads, and accessories. On the web at g5outdoors.com. By Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen.
Got a smallmouth. See, that's beautiful. That is beautiful.
First thing we're going to do is trying to go get some smallmouths. So hopefully they cooperate this morning. If not, then we're going to go largemouth fishing. But we'll definitely do both over the course of the day.
And who do you got in the boat with you today?
I got Mark Zona with me.
Zona?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the best. So it should be a good day. He's a huge deal.
I've been telling my family that my entire life, Ben. I appreciate that.
Yeah, not a problem.
I'm actually without a teleprompter and doing the Bassmasters. I'm very, I'm withheld. I'm to myself unless that teleprompter goes up. The nice thing is I've got 1 5-hour energy and 3 gallons of coffee in me.
You're good to go.
I'm wanting to fish fast this morning, Jimmy. I truly am.
Mark Zona is a Michigander through and through, and just happens to be the host of 2 national fishing shows, one on ESPN and one on the Outdoor Channel. It was a lot of fun to have him in the boat this morning on Muskegon Lake.
I grew up in the southwest part of the state, and I sold bass boats in northern Indiana for half of the year, and the other half of the year I fished tournaments. That's all I did throughout my teen years and then my early 20s, and then I got, what's that word called? I got that thing called married. And it's funny, it was a couple years after I got married, I was gonna go fish full time. And this is no joke, about the year prior to doing that, where I did it full time, ESPN called and asked if I was interested in being on TV. They had seen a little bit of footage and a couple national tournaments I think that I was in. And my biggest problem is I can't stop talking. I try, I can't stop.
Let's see if I can get this without getting the treble hooks in me.
Nice job.
Yeah, that's a good one. Not a bad way to start the day, right?
You caught one before the professional over
Well, I had the front of the boat. So, you know, I have a feeling that that'll change.
fish.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You know what that is? There we
There you go. We're in the large
Oh!
Oh, I think I got a smallmouth. See, that's the beauty. That is the beauty. That's the amazing thing about this place. For him to make a cast and catch a largemouth and to throw right back in and catch a glorious, beautiful Tuesday morning smallmouth. Glorious. It's because the cameraman was making fun of me. You know what I mean?
If you have watched Mark on either of his popular shows, you know he looks like he'd be a ton of fun to be around. Well, let me put that rumor to rest. He is an even better guy than what he appears to be on camera. We were catching fish and moving around the lake, and wouldn't you know, these bass guys were pretty interested in the salmon that seemed to be coming in every boat at the mouth of the river as we made our way out to fish the pier heads.
Well, evidently we picked the wrong species today. And this is the Tuesday off for everybody in the west side of the state for salmon. This is no joke. And you cannot capture on camera what we saw from the beginning of the pier head out to here. We have seen no less than 30 king salmon hookups. And I'm struggling to throw my little smallmouth bait at this pier head for what I'm watching out here right now.
Well, I tried to talk Mark off the cliff and throw some salmon spoons, but no luck. I just wish Mark was having a little bit more fun. You know, he's just so quiet and subdued.
Oh, ho, 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 tickle, tickle, tickle. You see what I did? I mean, I threw right back. Tickle, tickle. That's a nice smallmouth, Mr. Jimmy. Nice smallmouth. Oh, it's a pretty one, too. Nice little keeper. Oh, isn't that pretty? See, that's the beauty. Not a big one, just a little chunker. But that's the beauty of this lake. To start up there and catch a bunch of little largemouth and then come and catch a smallie. I'm gonna get sentimental. I miss fishing this lake.
Well, Mark is quite the angler, and as we changed tactics throughout the day, each seemed to work very well.
Little finesse worm, what you do is just bite the top of it off. Bite the top off. And it's a real thin diameter hook so it can penetrate that worm easy. And the great thing about this is just a worm that you can get a number of bites on right there. And the great thing about it is largemouth and smallmouth will eat that.
So the main reason that Ben and Mark were on the boat today was to promote the upcoming Bassmaster Elite Series that is coming to Muskegon later this month. It's going to be a very cool thing for anyone to come and watch.
It's a pretty big deal, in all honesty, at least in the bass fishing world. Having the All-Star event, really it's the top 14 guys of the Bassmaster Elite Series, which for the year of 2013, that's having the best guys that hold a fishing pole for bass out on Muskegon and White Lake. And that's a, you know, here's the best way to put it. It's the home run derby of bass fishing here on the west side of Michigan. Selfishly, I had a little bit to do with the tournament coming here because I grew up on this lake, really since I was a late teenager. And there's very few lakes throughout the country that in September, predominantly outside of the north, the month of September is a tough fishing month. In our state, we're very fortunate because it's almost winter time. And the thing that's unique about Muskegon is the sheer numbers, just the sheer numbers of largemouth and smallmouth that mix. That is very, very hard to find in our country. There's few states like Minnesota, New York that have that.
Get him!
Done.
But what's special about this lake, what's really special about Muskegon and White Lake, is just the numbers that you can catch really in one day's fishing.
There.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Right in the roof of the mouth.
Look at that.
Right where you like it.
Looks like a pro.
Yeah.
Nice job. Well, special thanks to Mark and to Ben Nielsen for taking me along today and highlighting this lake and the event that really showcases to the world just what Michigan has to offer the angler, no matter what species you choose to chase.
The one thing that I would like to see here, and this is, I guess, if there's a wish list, look, I know the guys are going to do their job out on the water. I hope we can do our job as Michiganders to support them at the weigh-in. Because a lot of boys driving a long way to come and tangle. It's the end of the show right there. It's the end of the show.
Hi, I'm Jordan Brown, and for this week's show, I was down in the southern part of the state for opening day of the early goose season, tagging along with a group of guys known as the Flock Knockers. Now, the weather wasn't ideal, but we were able to make the best of it and ended up having a pretty good day.
Today I would be goose hunting with one of our friends from the Michigan Propane Gas Association and his crew, the Flock Knockers, setting up on a well-used roost site for the 2013 opener.
Oh, we're hunting a roost site, so we don't want to get in here and bump these birds off, so we're just kind of sitting here where we got a good visual of where these birds are at, and just going to watch them, let them all leave, and then move in, get the blinds set up, and we'll be in place for when the birds get back, and should work good. A lot of birds are using this. There's about half as many birds on here as there was yesterday, but they're roosted somewhere and they'll be back midday.
We've been scouting these birds for, I don't know, maybe 3-4 weeks now. They've been using this day roost just about every day. I mean, every day we're here, there's a couple hundred birds on here. And this morning we got in here and they didn't fly off here till about 8:30 or so. We were expecting to fly about 7, so everything was just running a little late today.
As we nestled in to wait for the birds to return, I got to know my neighbor for the day and his dog Duff, one of 2 retrieving labs on hand today.
This is Duff. He's a 4-year-old dog. He's hunted ever since he was a pup, so he's a good one. He's a keeper. He's excited.
He's ready for some birds.
Yeah, he is, for sure. For sure. First hunt of the year is always a little bit excitable, for sure.
Everyone was on edge waiting for the birds to return, and after a couple of hours, they finally began to make their way in.
Typically we're in a field setup and we're set up at daybreak waiting for the birds to come in from a roost. This is a little different situation. We're right on a roost. So you got to wait for the birds to get off. Once they get off, then you come back in behind the birds to set up and wait for them to come back. It just took so long for that to happen today. Patience kind of paid off for us today, but typically this does not work that way.
The birds were coming in perfect sized groups, allowing us just enough time between flocks to recover our downed birds. We eagerly waited to see how many more birds would make their way in to this well-used roost site.
Deal. Good job. Oh, good girl. Good girl, Shady. Good job. Obviously a great roost spot. A lot of birds use this, have for years and years. 2 ponds here. Sometimes we've been tossing back and forth between the 2 ponds. Last year we did well in between them, right in the open pasture. But this year the birds all have been using this back pond mainly. There's a pretty good runway down through the middle of the pond that the birds always just, it's where their landing and takeoff zone seems to be. And there's enough birds using it. This was definitely our hot spot for the year. Opening morning, thought we had her figured out. Birds flew real late off roost this morning, which was odd, and they fed where they normally feed. They went to the south, which is the way we wanted them to go, but they didn't all come back.
It became apparent about halfway through the morning that not all of the birds that had left the pond earlier would be returning, but our success rate on the returning birds was pretty good, which made for a good opening day, something these guys wait all year long for.
Yeah, we do a lot of scouting. Opening day for us is it's a big deal. We wait all year for this to come back around, and you know, I couldn't sleep much last night thinking about it. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I know the boys, they like to get out here and do some shooting. My son and Adam's son, and you know, any boy that age, just a great sport for them. Just a great sport. Opening day is a big deal for us. The dogs working today, that was a highlight for us. Usually it's quite a job retrieving the downed birds in the water, and it was added a whole new aspect to our hunt today. Got future hunter with us today, Landon. He had a ball. He's been with us before, but usually the time he's with us before, I guess he slept most of the day, but he was pretty excited today. So, you know, goose hunting is just a very relaxing thing. Sit here, the camaraderie, and talk back and forth till you hear birds and hunker down, see birds, hunker down, and hope they work. But it's just very relaxing.
We ended up killing 17 birds. Not bad considering the small number of birds that made it back to the pond. Special thanks to Adam, Jim, and the rest of the flock knockers for letting me tag along on a great opening day.
Well, if you happened to catch the show last week, we had part 1 in a series on how to talk to whitetails. Our good friend Tom Richardson, who's been a longtime deer hunter and does a lot of seminars around the state on talking with whitetails. We're going to get some more in-depth information on this week, and hopefully this will be some stuff that you can use in the woods in just a few weeks.
When you are out there hunting, using these fawn calls, these are your best friend, because you want the girls around you, okay? So you are going to imitate a lost fawn. Those that hear that, they'll come in and investigate. Once they get there, I'll actually answer myself a lot of times. Keep the call back behind you. You are giving the impression to these other deer that just come in that mom showed up, all is well, and the deer are staying right in your area. A lot of times they'll bed right down. Calling in bucks, or does for that matter. This works on either one. Again, the duration of the call is going to convey what you're trying to say. Now, I have a lot of guys say, man, I tried calling, but nothing come in. I said, well, let me hear you call. So they'll take a call and they'll go, well, nothing's going to come to that. That's a death moan. Something over here is getting killed. You know, actually the death moan, and a lot of guys have probably heard one. After you arrow a deer, it's a long, drawn out. Yeah, that just sounds gnarly. So nothing's going to come into that. Now, say for example, I see early season, I got a buck walking up along fence row. Okay, a 1 second burst. This will apply to does or bucks. He'll look. If he didn't, no, deer don't yell, so start out soft. You know, he'll snap his head around, you got his attention, the call did its job. Don't overcall. If he comes in, put the call away, just watch body language, watch what he's doing, and get ready. If he drops his head and keeps feeding, hit him again with a little more urgency, a little more emotion, and a little more volume. He'll snap his head around again and look. Okay, he's got you zeroed now. He knows you're there. 7 times out of 10, he'll drop his head and start feeding into you. Now, this is your call. If he keeps going, hit him again, don't hit him again. That's your call. Read his body language. It probably won't hurt anything. I don't like overcalling, but chances are what he's going to do is he's going to circle around behind you, try to win you to see who you are. So be aware of that. Also be aware of the buck you just called in that was 25 yards behind you in the brush you didn't even know was there. When you look down and see this 10-point standing at you, which happened to me many times. I called in deer I didn't even know was there, calling to a buck over here, especially when you're calling blind. There's only 3 ways to call bucks that I've found, and I've been calling deer for 38 years. That is jealousy, curiosity, and an outright challenge. And I'm going to save that one for last. Now, you notice how a hot buck will grunt with every step. Well, I've used this call, I call it the grunt step, because he'll match her step for step. I mean, he'll be busting a move, following this doe around. Every step she takes, he'll take a step and grunt. Now, this gives the guys out here, especially close to the bedding areas or any bucks within earshot, this gives the impression that there's another buck in his territory trying to breed a doe, or he has one cornered. He is going to come out to investigate. Another real good call that I've had a lot of success with is ticking. Now, I've heard this sound made just before a buck is ready to breed a hot doe. It'll come from the back of his throat, and it sounds like this. I got another call here. That is kind of a younger buck. Now here's an older buck. It's a series of ticks, 4 or 5 ticks, 7 or 8 ticks, followed by a grunt, then a tick. Tick, 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 brr, tick. That'll give the impression, again, of anything out there laying around. These dominant bucks here, that even younger bucks are going to come in and investigate. Now, best for last. And you guys can't hold me responsible for this one. Barry Wetzel taught me this trick years ago.
Yes, well, I hate to do it, but we are out of time on this week's show. So to see the call that Tom says you have to use with caution, well, join us next week, where we will get a great tip on calling, but an even better deer hunting story.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you check us out online. You can do that a few different ways on our website at MichiganOutofDoorsTV.com, where we have episodes on there as well as wild game recipes, all sorts of fun stuff going on the website, on Facebook at Michigan Out of Doors TV, and on our new Twitter page as well. Good luck to all of you bear hunters out there, all you small game hunters as well. Be safe, have fun, and we'll see you back here next week on your PBS station for Michigan Out of Doors.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Rosie Brothers. Located in Dryden, Michigan, Rosie Brothers has been serving Michigan for over 40 years. Specializing in outdoor needs, Rosie Brothers features Kubota tractors and equipment for use in farm, home, or commercial needs. On the web at rosiebrosinc.com. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. with its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses. Pictured Rocks boat cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. By Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas energy in homes, farms, and businesses across our great state. Learn more at usemichiganpropane.com. By Meyer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meyer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meyer. Closed captioning is brought to you by Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas to outdoor enthusiasts across our great state.
I wear sandals with black socks. Has nothing to do with this interview right now, okay? But it's a good look. If you can pull it off. Do I think I pulled it off exceptionally well today? I don't. You know? I mean, Ben's kind of happening. I'm not going to lie. If you watch old kid up there, and not only that, he was pretty serious about this today. I'm not going to lie. This was house money for me. The worst part of my job is the travel and being away from home because, you know, next to fishing, I should say next to family is fishing. I caught myself.
Your wrap up for the day, boys. How'd we do?
Sometimes the mouth runs out of gas.
Yeah. Overall, pretty good day on Muskegon. Little tough today, but you know, pretty good representation of kind of what's out there.
Here's the beauty for the Elite Series that'll be here. To be able to catch that at smallmouth mixed in with largemouth, it's going to be a good show.